The glass doors of St. Harmony's elite academy gleamed like a mirror, reflecting the cold, polished world Ella never belonged to. She adjusted the faded lanyard that hung from her neck, the one that marked her as a cleaning staff, not a parent, and stepped back into the marbled hallway, mop in hand, just as laughter broke the silence. It wasn't the innocent kind. It was sharp.
Mean.
She froze. At the far end of the corridor, near the lockers, a group of uniformed boys had circled around a smaller child, his back to her, backpack ripped open, books tossed to the floor. His hands trembled as he bent to pick them up, only to be shoved down again. "Why do you even go here, trash?" One sneered. "Bet your mom's a beggar too." Another chimed in. "Or a maid. Look at his face. He doesn't even belong." Ella's blood chilled. Not because of the cruelty, but because the moment the boy turned his tear-streaked face toward her, she saw herself. The same almond-shaped eyes. The same fragile mouth. The same mole under his left eye.
No.
It couldn't be. Her heart stuttered, then launched into a sprint. She dropped the mop and ran forward, shoving past the boys like a storm. "Enough," she shouted, pulling the boy into her arms. "What do you think you're doing?" The boys scattered, startled by her fire. Teachers peeked from nearby classrooms, but no one intervened. Of course not. Why would anyone defend a maid? The child's small hands clung to her shirt. His sobs were silent, but his body shook with every breath. She smoothed his hair back, whispering, "You're safe now, sweetheart. You're okay." Behind her, a slow, deliberate pair of footsteps echoed across the marble. Cold. Sharp. Ella turned her head, already knowing who it was. Leonard Xiao.
The CEO.
The school's patron. And the man she once loved. 6 years had not softened him. In his tailored black suit, with hands tucked in his pockets and an unreadable expression carved into stone, Leonard looked exactly like the man who had shattered her life, and yet, for one haunting second, his gaze locked on the child. And didn't move. The silence thickened like fog. Staff held their breath. A few whispered. Ella stood tall, wrapping a protective arm around the boy. "He was being bullied," she said evenly, her voice shaking despite herself. Leonard didn't speak. He stared. Not at her, but at the boy.
No.
Through him, as if he were looking at a ghost. Then his jaw tightened. "Who's the child?" The boy looked up, still sniffling. Ella opened her mouth, but her voice caught in her throat. She couldn't say it. Couldn't say, "He's yours." Not here.
Not now.
Not like this. "I don't know his name," she said quietly. "But that doesn't matter. What matters is the school let this happen." His eyes snapped to hers. That old storm was still there. But beneath it, something deeper. Recognition. Ella felt it too. A gut punch of memory, of the one night that had never stopped haunting her. The night she left without a word. Pregnant. Alone. Leonard took a step forward. The boy, wide-eyed, whispered, "Mommy, why does that man look like me?" Ella's world cracked. The hallway spun. Gasps flared like sparks around them. Leonard froze, the words slamming into his chest like gunfire. But before anyone else could speak, the headmistress came rushing in. "Miss Ella, this is highly inappropriate. You are staff, not a guardian. You are to report to the back hallway. Immediately." Ella straightened, fury in her spine. If protecting a child is inappropriate, then maybe I don't belong in this school. Leonard's gaze never left her. She took the boy's hand, trembling, and turned toward the exit. As they walked away, the boy looked back once more. Leonard did too. And for the first time in 6 years, their broken past breathed again, alive, unfinished, and impossible to ignore. The city sky cracked with thunder as Ella shoved open the heavy school doors and stepped into the downpour. Raindrops pelted her shoulders like needles, but she didn't flinch. Her hand tightened around little Daniel's. He was still trembling, eyes wide, heart pounding too fast for a child his age. She scooped him into her arms and kissed his damp forehead. "You're okay now," she whispered, her voice low and fierce. She didn't look back. Not at the school. Not at the crowd watching. Not at him. The man who once promised to protect her and now stood at the top of a glass stairway like a god too far removed to feel guilt. But Leonard Xiao did feel it. From the balcony, drenched in silence, Leonard gripped the rail with white-knuckled tension as he watched Ella disappear into the storm, her back straight, her arms cradling the child like a shield. His child. His gut said it. His eyes knew it. But his mind couldn't accept it. Ella had vanished 6 years ago. No calls. No letters. Just one night, then nothing. And now this boy, with his jawline, his eyes, his stubborn stare, had called her mommy, in a voice that cracked Leonard open. He should have stopped her, asked for answers, demanded the truth. Instead, he watched her leave, again. Hours later, downtown bus station, near closing time, Ella sat on the edge of a plastic bench, Daniel curled asleep against her chest, wrapped in her threadbare shawl. Her soaked uniform clung to her skin, and her fingers were still trembling, not from the cold, but from the storm that had just uprooted her carefully hidden life. She'd protected her son for 6 years, kept his existence buried, far away from the ruthless world Leonard ruled. And yet, fate had dragged them back into his orbit. She rocked Daniel gently. His face was peaceful now, lips parted slightly, hair still damp. Her heart ached. "You were never supposed to meet him," she whispered. "Then why didn't you tell me?" The voice sliced through the silence like a dagger. Ella's eyes flew open. Leonard stood a few feet away, his custom suit half-soaked, eyes dark with rain and fury. He didn't come with guards. No driver. No umbrella. Just raw emotion, etched in every tense line of his face. "How did you find us?" she asked, keeping her voice low. His answer was simple. "I never stopped watching you after this afternoon." Ella looked away. Typical. "Don't do that," he said, stepping forward. "Don't act like I'm the villain. I didn't even know he existed." "And if you had?" she snapped, rising slowly, shielding Daniel's sleeping face. "Would you have done what your family did last time? Offered me hush money? Called me a gold digger? Fired me again?" His jaw locked. "You think I would have turned my back on my own child?" "You turned your back on me," she whispered. Silence. The station was nearly empty now, a humming fluorescent bulb flickering above them. The world outside roared with traffic and neon lights, but in here, it was just them. Their pain. Their unspoken history. "I was 21, Ella said quietly. "And scared. You were engaged to someone else. I thought I was just a mistake." "You weren't." The word hit her like lightning. "I loved you, Ella. That night." "Don't," she interrupted, her eyes glassy. "Don't rewrite the past just because the future showed up with your eyes and your name." Leonard stepped closer. Slowly. Carefully. "I'm not here to rewrite anything," he said. "I just want to know my son." Ella's breath caught. She looked down at Daniel, curled against her heart, innocent in sleep, unaware that the man he resembled was standing 5 feet away. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," Leonard continued. "But I won't walk away this time. I want to be in his life. In your life. Whatever that takes." Ella stared at him. There was no arrogance in his voice now. No coldness. Just quiet desperation. For the first time, she saw the man he might have been without the suit, the company, the walls. The boy who once whispered her name like it was a secret. She looked down. Her voice shook. "He thinks his father is a soldier. A hero who couldn't come home yet. I didn't want him to grow up thinking he was abandoned." Leonard's throat tightened. "Then don't let him. Let me show him I'm here now." Ella said nothing. The weight of years, of pain, silence, and survival, hung heavy between them. Then Daniel stirred. His lashes fluttered. He blinked sleepily and looked directly at Leonard. "Mommy," he said softly, "why is that man here again?" Ella froze. Leonard knelt down, just enough to meet the boy's eyes, heart in his throat. "Because," he said gently, voice cracking, "I think I might be someone really important to you." Daniel tilted his head. "Like who?" Leonard smiled, trembling. "Maybe your daddy." Ella's breath hitched. Daniel looked between them. But I already have a daddy. He's a hero. Leonard's voice barely held. Then let me earn that title too. And for the first time, Daniel nodded. Just once. Ella turned away quickly, blinking back tears. Leonard hadn't slept in 2 days. Not because of the empire he ran, or the board meetings that demanded his attention. Not even because of the merger he was supposed to announce by Friday. It was her. It was him.
The boy.
His son. He kept seeing the child's face in his mind, soft, vulnerable, his. That first word, Daddy, spoken with such hesitant curiosity, had shattered something buried inside Leonard for years. And now, that ache had turned into something sharper.
Need.
Need to see them again. Need to know everything he'd missed. Need to fix what he'd broken. Monday, Leonard Shio's office, 42nd floor, Shio Group headquarters. Find out where she lives, Leonard said coldly, eyes fixed on the skyline. His assistant, Mira, hesitated. Sir, we already tried. She's moved 4 times in 5 years. She's untraceable unless. Try harder, he snapped, then softened. Discreetly. Mira raised a brow. You don't want her to know you're looking? Leonard turned slowly, his voice low.
No.
I want her to come to me, because she chooses to. Mira nodded and left. The moment the door shut, Leonard sat down and opened the drawer of his desk. Inside, tucked in a red velvet folder, was the school application file he'd secretly accessed after the incident. The boy's name, Daniel Shioli. Mother's listed occupation, freelance cleaner. Father, unknown. His hands trembled slightly as he ran a finger down the birth date. 6 years ago. Exactly 9 months after that night. He clenched his jaw. How had she survived it all? Without help, without protection, without him? And why had she chosen to suffer in silence? Meanwhile, a small apartment in Westbridge District. Ella wiped Daniel's mouth gently with a napkin as he finished his cereal. His small feet swung under the table, too short to touch the floor, his socks mismatched. Do you like your new school? She asked softly. He nodded. It's okay. The nice teacher let me draw today. Her chest ached. That's good, baby. But the truth haunted her. She had put him in St. Harmony's because she wanted him to have a better future, even if she had to scrub toilets to afford the tuition. She had no idea Leonard still funded the school, and now that he knew the truth, everything had changed. She glanced at the phone. No calls. No messages. But deep down, she knew it was only a matter of time. Leonard Shio was not a man who let go. Later that evening, supermarket parking lot. Ella was loading groceries into her cart when a sleek black Mercedes pulled up beside her. Her heart stopped. The back window rolled down. Leonard. Ella, he said, voice calm, almost quiet. She froze, fists tightening around the cart handle. Is this how it's going to be now? You stalking me in parking lots? He stepped out of the car, dressed in charcoal gray and rain still clinging to his hair. I didn't come to threaten you. She crossed her arms. Then what? You want shared custody? A press release? A DNA test? I don't need a test, he said. I already know. His voice shook slightly at the end, and for a brief second, the mask slipped. He looked broken. Ella blinked, caught off guard. I missed 6 years of his life, he said. I don't get to demand anything. But I need to be near him. Near you. She laughed bitterly. Now you remember me? I never forgot you, he said. I tried to find you. You disappeared. You mean after your fiancé had me fired, blacklisted, and told me I was a mistake? Leonard stiffened. You think I knew about that? Ella turned away. You didn't need to. You didn't stop it either. A long silence stretched between them. Then he spoke again, low, raw. Let me fix this. Let me do one thing right. Just let me see him again. Her eyes welled up. He's not a business deal you can negotiate, Leonard. I know. She hesitated, the weight of 6 years pressing into her spine. Then, quietly, she said, We go to the park every Saturday morning. If you happen to be there, I won't stop you. Leonard's breath hitched. And in that moment, for the first time, Ella saw something that frightened her more than his power, more than his name. She saw hope. The sun filtered through the maple trees of Westbridge Park, painting soft shadows across the worn picnic tables and scattered swings. Children laughed in the distance. Parents sipped coffee. It looked like any ordinary Saturday morning. But to Leonard Shio, this wasn't ordinary. This was everything. He stood at the edge of the sandbox in a tailored coat that didn't quite match the casual, plastic world of slides and monkey bars. But he didn't care. His eyes were fixed on one thing: Daniel, his son. The boy giggled as he ran through the grass, arms out like airplane wings, chasing bubbles with reckless joy. Ella sat on a nearby bench, eyes alert but soft, watching both of them, one in the grass, one frozen on the edge. It was the first time Leonard had ever seen Daniel just be a child, without pressure, without questions. It was also the first time he felt like he was standing on the outside of a life that could have been his. He approached the bench slowly. Ella didn't flinch, but her spine straightened. "You came," she murmured. "You didn't stop me," he replied. They sat in a silence that pulsed like a wound between them. Then, "He looks like you," Leonard said. "But he laughs like you used to." Ella's fingers tensed around her thermos. "Used to. I remember that sound," he continued, voice lower now. "Back when you wore sneakers with holes and made fun of my $5,000 ties." She cracked the faintest smile. "You still wear them." "I still miss the girl who mocked them." The smile disappeared. "I don't have the luxury to miss things," she said. "I had to survive." Leonard looked away, jaw tight. "And I didn't make that possible. I let others destroy what we had." "No," her voice was sharp now. "You stood by while they did it." He said nothing. Then Daniel ran up, holding 2 juice boxes in his hands. "Mommy, I got one for you, and, the other man." Leonard knelt. "Thanks, champ." Daniel beamed. "Wanna play spaceship?" Leonard glanced at Ella, silently asking. She nodded once. Leonard let himself be pulled into the grass, chasing plastic rings and cardboard aliens with a boy he'd only just begun to love. It was awkward, funny, beautiful, until a shadow fell across them. A figure in heels, lipstick, expensive perfume. Clarissa Wong, Leonard's former fiancée. "Leonard," she said sweetly, her voice lined with poison. "How adorable. You playing daddy now?" Ella shot to her feet. "What are you doing here?" "I own this park's landscaping rights, darling. I go where I please." Her eyes dropped to Daniel. "Is this the little mistake you hid from us?" Leonard stood. "Clarissa, don't." "Oh, I will." Her smile turned predatory. "You think no one noticed your sudden interest in a maid's bastard son? I've already informed your board. Your investors. They're not thrilled." Ella's face paled. Leonard stepped between them. "This is your last warning, Clarissa." Clarissa's eyes glittered. "You're not CEO yet, Leonard. Your father still controls half the shares. He won't tolerate scandal. Not for her." She turned on her heel and left, her stilettos stabbing the grass like daggers. Daniel blinked up. "Mommy, who was that mean lady?" Ella knelt, hiding the tremble in her hands. "No one important, baby." But her heart thundered. The secret was out. And now, the war would begin. The ballroom glittered with chandeliers, champagne flutes, and false smiles. Ella stood near the marble columns of the Shio Group's annual shareholders' gala, wearing a borrowed navy gown that clung to her body like a secret. She didn't belong here, and everyone knew it. But she was here anyway, because Leonard had asked. No, begged. "Let them see the truth," he'd said. "Let them see what they tried to erase." Now, as she watched Clarissa laughing near the press wall, wine in hand, Ella wasn't so sure. Every whisper, every glance she felt tonight pierced deeper than stilettos. She wasn't Cinderella anymore. Not even the maid. She was the scandal, the secret, the girl who dared to rise without permission. Then she saw him, Leonard, walking onto the stage, eyes scanning the room until they landed on hers. He looked powerful,
Composed.
but his hand, as he lifted the microphone, trembled. "Ladies and gentlemen," Leonard began, Tonight was supposed to be about our company's future.
Growth. Power.
Legacy. The room quieted. But legacies aren't built from silence and cover-ups. They're built by truth, and by the people brave enough to stand in it. Ella's heart pounded. I want to introduce you to someone, Leonard said, voice steady now. The mother of my son. A woman this company once tried to destroy. A woman I failed. He extended his hand toward her.
Gasps.
Murmurs. Ella froze. She could turn away now, fade into the shadows again. But then she felt it. Daniel's small hand clutching hers, whispering, It's okay, Mommy. I'm not scared if you're not. Her spine straightened. Her chin lifted. She stepped forward, each step an earthquake beneath her heels. Leonard's eyes never left hers as she reached him, took his hand, and faced the crowd. Silence. Pure and sharp. Then, is this a joke? Clarissa's voice cracked through the tension like a gunshot.
She seduced you, Leonard. Lied. Trapped you.
You're throwing away your family's name for a maid. Leonard's jaw clenched. Don't speak another word, Clarissa. Oh, I'll speak. Her smile curled into something wicked. Because I have proof. She lifted a phone, tapped play. Ella's voice.
Crying.
Desperate. From 6 years ago. I didn't mean to get pregnant. Please don't ruin him. He doesn't know yet. Just let me leave quietly, please. The ballroom gasped. Ella's face went pale. Her knees nearly buckled. Leonard stepped in front of her like a wall of fury. Where did you get that? He growled. Security archives. Remember the boardroom where she begged me for mercy? Clarissa smirked. I saved it. In case she ever crawled back. Leonard turned to the crowd. I did not know she was pregnant. I did not know she was pushed out by my own fiancé behind my back. But I do know this. He took Ella's hand again, gripping it tightly. She raised our son alone. With no money, no protection, and more strength than anyone in this room. Clarissa's eyes flared. You'll lose everything for this. The board will vote to remove you. Let them, he cut sharply. Let them strip my title. My name. I don't care. I'd rather be a father than a puppet. Ella blinked back tears. She had never seen him like this. Not once. Then a slow clap echoed from the back. It was Mr. Zhao, the oldest board member. Sharp, calculating, and rarely impressed. About time, he muttered. The first real thing you've said in years. More applause. Murmurs of agreement. Clarissa's face fell. Ella turned to Leonard, voice trembling. Why would you risk everything? He looked at her, eyes raw, voice low. Because I've already lost you once. I won't survive losing you again. She couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. So she kissed him, right there, in front of them all. And as the flashbulbs exploded around them, so did everything she thought she knew about who she was and what she deserved. The kiss made headlines. The resignation made history. By Monday morning, every major outlet had a version of the same photo. Leonard Xiao, billionaire CEO, kissing a former maid in a ballroom full of shocked elites, his son watching from the wings with a juice box in hand. Ella stood barefoot in Leonard's penthouse kitchen, the news still echoing in her mind like a surreal dream. She stirred oatmeal on the stove while Daniel arranged toy cars on the marble island. The silence was oddly peaceful until it wasn't. Leonard stepped in, freshly showered, phone in hand, hair still wet. The board accepted my resignation. Ella looked up. And the company? Still standing, he said. They appointed my father's cousin as interim CEO. She raised a brow. And you're okay with that? He poured himself coffee. I lost control of the company the moment I let other people control me. There was no bitterness in his voice. Only clarity. And maybe it's peace. Ella placed the spoon down and faced him. You didn't have to give everything up, she said softly. Not for me. I didn't give it up for you, Leonard replied. I gave it up for me. For Daniel. For the man I kept pretending I wasn't. Ella looked down at her hands. And now? Leonard took a step closer. Now. I finally get to choose the life I want. And what does that look like? she asked, almost afraid of the answer. He didn't blink. It looks like you. She opened her mouth, then froze as the elevator chimed. Clarissa stormed in, security trailing behind her. You think this is over? She hissed. You humiliated me. You cost me my board seat. You think I won't burn everything you love to the ground? Leonard stood between her and Ella. You've already tried, Clarissa. And guess what? I'm still standing. She laughed coldly. You may be standing, Leonard, but she won't be for long. You think the press won't turn on her? The school, the parents, the world? You brought her into our circle, and we eat people like her alive. Ella stepped forward before Leonard could reply. Her voice didn't shake. I've been eaten before, she said. And I survived. The difference now? I'm not alone. Clarissa blinked. Just once. Then turned and walked away, her silence more venomous than her threats. The door clicked shut. Leonard exhaled. You didn't have to do that. Ella smiled faintly. You think I've survived this long by waiting for men to defend me? He laughed. And then he kissed her. Later that evening, on the balcony, the city below sparkled like a galaxy fallen to Earth. Daniel had fallen asleep inside, curled in a mountain of pillows, safe.
Whole.
Ella leaned against the railing, the wind in her hair. I never thought I'd have this, she whispered. Not the penthouse. Not the headlines. Just peace. Leonard wrapped his arms around her waist from behind. I didn't think I deserve it. They stood there in silence. Then Ella asked, what if they keep coming after us? Let them try, he murmured. We're not hiding anymore. She turned to face him, eyes full of something ancient and new all at once. Then let's stop running. Let's build something real. Leonard tilted his head. Are you proposing to me, Miss Xiao? She smirked. Don't flatter yourself, Mr. Xiao. But if you kneel, I might say yes. He laughed, stepped back, and, to her surprise, actually knelt. One knee down, moonlight in his eyes, no ring in sight, but everything in his face screamed sincerity. I don't have a diamond, he said, but I have my name, my past, my broken pieces, and a boy inside who still dreams of being chosen. Ella blinked away the tears. I never stopped choosing you. I just had to choose myself first. He stood, took her face in his hands, and kissed her like it was the first time. Epilogue scene, optional. 6 months later. A small cafe opens in Westbridge called Cinderella's Second Chance. Inside, there's a play corner, a children's library, a wall of photos, of single moms, of reunions of survivors. And behind the counter?
Ella.
Apron on, smile wide. Leonard? Sitting with Daniel in a corner booth, coloring. Power isn't always wearing a crown. Sometimes, it's just holding hands across the table and knowing you finally came home.